Hello.
Hello.
Hey, welcome back to the Island Shuffle, episode 6. I'm Bean Levier.
And I'm James Brown.
This is a podcast where we watch Lost, everyone's favorite show about an island and its mysteries. But we watch it out of order.
We put it on shuffle.
We hit that playlist, and we don't hit repeat 1. We don't hit repeat all.
We should hit repeat 1.
We should hit repeat 1. I think the Worst Idea of All Time boys have that on lock. I don't know if you've heard of that podcast.
No.
If you're unfamiliar, The Worst Idea of All Time is a podcast where they spent a year watching Grown Ups 2.
Oh my god.
Every week for a year.
That is awful.
It's awful, but it's also
Is it funny?
Really, it's definitely very funny. You can tell, I really like listening to that podcast and hearing the, they're, by week 10, they're in full blown despair mode.
Absolutely, and the end is nowhere.
The end is nowhere near in sight, and then you see these kind of peaks of Zen euphoria where they're this week I really actually liked it a lot.
I feel like I've had some amount of a similar experience with some episodes of Lost.
Yes, for sure. I mean, we are definitely still staring down the barrel of a hell of a lot of Lost.
With a long gun.
Very long gun. The long gun.
The long con.
Mm-hmm.
Throwback to episode 1.
Mm-hmm.
AKA episode 30-something?
Episode 20, 30-something? I don't know.
I think it was episode 13 of season 2.
Yes. Yeah,
you're
right.
Long con.
The long con, baby. But we didn't watch that episode this time. Although that episode did inform everything since then, because the protagonist of the show is Sawyer.
Obviously, everyone knows that.
Every episode, the format of the show so far is you see an episode from Sawyer's perspective, and then you see an episode from an auxiliary character's perspective.
Uh-huh.
It's been Sawyer, Richard, Sawyer, Echo, Sawyer. And this week, we spent a little bit of time with Kate. I was going to say her last name, but I completely have no idea what it is.
I don't know. I don't even know her first name. She had 2 first names in this episode.
She sure did.
Sometimes people called her Monica, and it was you're lying to them.
Yeah, talk about long cons.
That is a long con.
That's as long a con as it gets.
But you know who was in this episode just about as much as Kate was?
Oh, the protagonist.
Sawyer.
Sawyer the protagonist. Sawyer, our favorite horny boy con protagonist.
It was really incredible. And once again, as with every Sawyer episode, we had a Sawyer fuck count.
We got a Sawyer. Chalk one up. Sawyer fuck count. There's another one.
Number 1.
Add it to the boards.
There was one, but this time he did not have a briefcase.
Yes, it was an unconventional fuck in that it was not. it was not a con oriented around a briefcase full of money this time. Instead, it was
in a cage.
Yeah, it was an honest and sincere bone.
It was like if you took the metaphor for Sawyer's existence, which is just this loose animal in a cage, sort of unleashed upon hell on earth.
Yeah.
I know, it's like they made the metaphor literal a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. They're coming out of their cages, and they're doing just fine.
Yeah. They're coming out of their cages, and they're coming in their cages. Uh-oh. Gonna have to cut that one out.
I think it's gonna have to stay in, because I don't intend to use Audacity for more than I absolutely have to. But I'm glad that we could go... it took us less than 4 minutes to say come, in that sense. So, hope all our fans love that good, filthy humor.
It's a Sawyer episode.
It's not really a Sawyer.
What can you expect?
It's a Sawyer adjacent episode. So there's gonna be some blue talk. We're gonna get a little blue.
Dabba die.
To narrow it down, we are talking about season 3, episode 6, titled I Do.
Aww,
Marriage.
sweet.
Something in there? What's that I'm hearing? Ding, 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 ding.
Love.
Is
love what you were thinking of?
I was going to say wedding bells.
Oh.
But, love also.
Hopefully the two go hand in hand.
I assume so. And they seemed to in this episode. This being a Kate episode, we got a glimpse into Kate's life as a fugitive on the run.
It's ridiculous.
It's really ridiculous. There are a lot of Kate episodes, and they all kind of go like this. Pretty much.
So her problem in this episode was really so Kate was getting married naturally to a police officer.
Of course, police officer played by the always handsome Nathan Fillion. Nathan Fillion, Nathan Fillmore. Nathan Filibuster.
A great detective.
Yes, absolutely. Cleans up the streets of that one elementary school.
The old elementary school cop. So her name is Monica.
Yeah, she's going by a nom de plume, Monica, in these flashbacks, and their marriage is you get like several scenes in a row of just them getting married, and it's like the happiest, most pristine marriage you've ever seen.
It seemed like a normal marriage.
Yeah, just a perfectly normal marriage.
There was a mother-in-law. There were no other parents. So I guess in that sense, it was a bit of an abnormal marriage.
True. We don't see Monica's parents, of course, because Monica's parents are... I forget.
Oh, yeah, she blew up her dad.
Yeah, she blew up her dad, and her mom hates her for blowing up her dad. That's the backstory that the audience would know. The normal viewing audience would know at this point.
That.
You didn't know that?
I mean, I guess I have watched it.
Yeah.
8 years ago.
But it hasn't come up in our watch through yet.
No.
But
we did not explore the blowing up of Monica Kate's dad.
Yes. So she's living this happy life, but it's too perfect.
It is way too perfect. Her hair is ridiculous.
Her hair is this beautiful like right out of a catalog kind of thing.
Out of a Sears catalog.
Yeah.
I guess that's the aesthetic they're going for.
Exactly, they're going for it's all perfect, and then when the rug gets pulled up from under you, it hurts all that much more. Except not really, because
open up the Sears catalog, buy a new rug.
You gotta buy a new rug from Sears.
Or in the case of this cop, you gotta get a new wife.
You gotta get a new wife, cop. This is definitely a very a sweet and wholesome Miami cop who, I mean, he's played by Nathan Fillion, so it's hard for him to not be handsome. And you get here's what I'll say about Kate. She's got a winning smile, Evangeline Lilly, and you put those two actors together, and their scenes can be pretty charming.
I would have liked to see the cop outside of his, because he was just so sweet and nice all the time.
True, yeah, he was sweet and nice, and the only time you see him on the job, he's sitting in the car. And then the other time he's oh, I'm bogged down with paperwork. Yeah. And it's sure is one way to look at cops.
You're a weird cop.
Yeah, you're an anomaly of a cop. Anyways, eventually, after all the perfect mother-in-law is sobbing and gives Kate a
family heirloom.
A beautiful heirloom, because she wanted to give it to her daughter, but she had 4 boys. 4 boys, and now she has a daughter of her own. And the priest at the wedding says, "Oh, this cop guy, whose name I forget, he's been going to church every day, and he's part of the community." And
ever since he was this tall, motions with hand.
I'm so happy that Monica's in his life, and welcome everybody. I'm now pronouncing man and wife. And they get married, and Kate goes to the grocery store and says, "Hey, it's taco night, honey. I'm at this perfect grocery store, and I'm doing all the things."
I think that was the first thing that really tipped me off as to that things were going to go south, because she was on the phone, and she was like, "Hey, it's taco night." What did she have in her cart? Only carrots and bananas.
Carrots and bananas, and she pulled a nondescript thing from the freezer, I think.
From the freezer. You can't get tacos from the freezer.
No, that's not where they keep them.
So what is going on here? She says it's taco night.
Well, I'll tell you. I think that's the first crack in the facade.
Yeah,
you're right.
They really plant the seed well with that one.
Exactly. Immediately after she goes to buy groceries, she darts out to a phone booth in the rain.
Oh yeah.
And she makes a call. She sets an egg timer and she makes a call to
and who does she call?
She gets a direct line into the FBI, of course. From a payphone.
And you know what? You know how she starts the conversation with the FBI? She goes, "It's me."
Yep. And FBI guy's yeah, of course, it's you.
It's her.
To be fair, I think there is a history implied there.
I would hope so.
I think we've seen
that guy and
that guy's a recurring character in Kate's backstory. They've been back and forthing, and basically Kate goes to this FBI guy. First of all, okay, before we talk about why this is stupid, let's just say what happens, and then we can get into it. Kate calls the FBI guy and says, look, you don't want to keep on chasing me for the crimes I've committed. I've loved this guy a lot. Why don't you just let me go? And FBI guy goes, you know what? How about this? If you can actually settle down and stay put, I'll stop chasing you as long as I have. But you and I both know that's not gonna happen. Here's why that's really dumb. Don't call the guy, like, so up until this scene, you had a good thing going. Yeah, you got a good thing going. You blow it here and now, first of all, by calling the FBI guy. You don't, the FBI guy picks up the phone, and then as soon as he realizes it's Kate, he, covers the mouth of the phone and goes, hey, guy next to me, start, tracing this call. He makes a little, gesture, and it's okay, well, that's the end of Kate's happy life, and it was literally, Kate was pretty much in the clear, apparently, until she blew it.
And secondly, who calls the FBI to say, hey, I know that I'm currently on the FBI wanted list, but could you chill and, stop searching for me?
Yeah.
And the FBI's like, yeah, I guess.
Yeah, it's you know what? Let's place a bet, says the FBI. Yeah, the FBI's in the business of, negotiating with fugitives.
Yeah. Well, I mean, technically they are.
I mean,
in a certain sense.
Yeah. When you put it that way, yes, that is their
that
deal.
That is sort of their business.
That is their deal, but I don't think they're necessarily super down for this arrangement.
Hey, stop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just okay, well, if you just quit it, we'll let bygones be bygones.
But you know what? Actually, at the end of Silence of the Lambs. The Hannibal Lecter phones Jodie Foster. Is it Jodie Foster?
Yes.
From the FBI. And he phones. I think he might get a direct line to her too.
Of course, you got it.
And then
all the good fugitives know the direct lines to all their favorite FBI guys.
Of course, it's a classic fugitive move.
It's just a rapport. You got to keep up a rapport.
You keep your little book. Right in your phone book. And he phoned her, and I don't think he said stop chasing me. I think it was sort of implied though, and she was like, yo, I'll stop, whatever.
Yeah, that's fair. But
so
also,
if the writers of this show though had their only experience of the FBI was through Silence of the Lambs, which I think is not entirely unlikely.
That is.
This
a
makes
lot of
perfect
people,
sense.
I imagine that's a lot of people's back in the day only experience with the FBI.
I had a small run-in with the FBI every time I watched a VHS. They were yo, don't copy this.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's kind of the FBI's version of the the deal that was struck in this episode. They're just kind of hey, we're not gonna fuck with you if you don't fuck with us.
That's true. You little stupid ass bitch. I ain't fucking with you. Got a million trillion things that I'd rather fucking do than be fucking with you. That's man. The FBI's theme song.
That's the. I mean, you never really were able to read it because the resolution was so funny, but that was the full text on the FBI warnings at the start of those old VHS tapes.
And now the FBI is currently prosecuting. What rapper put that out? Is it Big Sean? Is that a Big Sean?
I legitimately don't know. It's definitely a line that I recognize.
It might be a Big Sean.
Could be a Big Sean.
They're currently prosecuting him for plagiarism.
Oh yeah,
for stealing the FBI's. It was written in Latin for the FBI. Their Latin slogan is "I ain't fucking with you."
Yeah. Well, I mean, that seems like what the FBI's priority should be in these trying times in 2017.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they gave up on Kate, so they want to move on to something else.
Yeah, that's
Hannibal Lecter is never going to be found.
Well, that's the thing. Let me tell you. They don't. They have no reason to give up on Kate because the next scene we see of Kate is her breaking her whole thing
for no reason.
She's basically just so the final scene of Kate's whole I'm married flashback is she basically she has a pregnancy scare. She almost is pregnant, but then she looks at the thing and the pregnancy test. I don't know why I said that so, like, contemptuously. Oh, I forgot we're all being PC now. It's a pregnancy test.
The kid stick.
The old kid stick.
And she was not pregnant. That was that was sort of a weird one, too.
I mean, all of it's weird. This whole flashback is weird. But let's wrap it up before we can really dive into why it kind of sucks. She basically comes out and she gives handsome cop a drink and the cop is like, "Oh, all the paperwork on this fugitive case, geez Louise." Kate goes, "What if I told you I was a fugitive and that I was on the run for blowing up my dad?" Nathan Fillion goes, "That's not funny." Kate goes, "I'm not joking. This is a real thing that happened. My name's not Monica. I'm Kate. I can't do this perfect lifestyle. I can't
taco night.
I
can't do taco night.
I can't do taco night."
She has this whole existential crisis of it's much easier to just be on the run rather than live in this marriage that I started a week ago.
Yeah, it's been who knows how long it's been. I like to think that that all of this takes place over a day. Yeah, it's the next day.
Taco night.
I can't do taco night.
It's like you don't have to eat tacos.
Yeah, you can do taco night, my dude. I'll do some taco night.
I'll do taco night.
Fuck yeah, I could go for taco night. I had tacos at Ray Del Tacos, which is a great taco place.
Yeah, I want to go. I've never been.
Highly recommended. If you're ever in is it Park X, I guess?
Right by the John Tello Market.
Yeah. It's if you're ever
close to El Ray Del Taco.
Yes.
I become my spot.
Highly recommended.
How many stars?
I've only been once, but I definitely give it 4 to 4.5 from
4 to 4.5. There we go.
Good prices, good food.
All right, thanks for tuning in to the Island Shuffle. This has been a long-form advertisement for El Ray Del Taco.
Exactly. We finally done it. We got our first sponsor, and it's Ray Del Tacos, and we're getting that taco money.
They told us, watch the Taco Night episode.
Yeah, I mean, we got to be honest. The numbers were rigged.
The numbers. Yeah, we
had to get to the Taco Night episode.
Precisely. Kate's whole fucking crisis is so contrived. It's so ridiculous that she buys into this. And she's like, I really love this guy. I'm really happy to be married to him. I'm like, please let me just do this. And the person's like, we know you can't do that. And then not long after, she's like, taco night is too much to handle.
It's so you committed murder.
Yeah, it's just chill.
If you can handle murder, you can handle a fucking taco.
Yeah, exactly.
Here's Kate also puts a sleeping pill in handsome husband's drink and then pieces, and that's the end of this. That's
she's on the run again.
She's back on the run. Kate, she runs. She's born to be a fugitive.
Born to be run.
I believe there's actually a Kate episode called Born to Run.
Really?
I think so.
Do they play the Bruce Springsteen song?
I doubt it. I doubt they have the rights to that. They'd probably just play some more Patsy Cline.
Oh, God.
I like Patsy Cline well enough.
I mean, but they named the episode after a Bruce Springsteen song. You can't do that and then not follow up with a. I don't like this show. I don't like what it's doing. I think this is really a bit, even for Lost. That's a bit much.
I like this character of guy down by the docks who really wanted Springsteen to be in Lost. Just wants Springsteen to be in everything.
Yeah, that's a real guy. That's thousands of that guy.
Oh yeah, that's my dad.
That's my dad.
Not knocking Bruce Springsteen. Love that. Love the boss.
Love the boss.
But you are above even the boss.
No way.
And so I hereby give you the title of Big Boss.
Big Boss. Welcome to the Island Shuffle. I'm Big Boss.
That's your new name. Before I get too deep into Metal Gear lore, let's dive back into Lost. I remember back in the day, there's a million Kate episodes. I want to say that Kate might be the character that has the most episodes dedicated to her. and they're all in this theme of like they're trying to paint her as a like tragic figure, kind of like, oh, isn't it a bummer that she just can't? Isn't that like so stop. Tragic? She can't stop
she's
running.
She's a victim of her own unwillingness to just like
exactly.
exist.
But like they have to keep, and like that kind of for a bit that works. There's some episodes that are like that's all right, but the problem with Kate is that she has so many episodes that are just that.
This one is so wild.
They keep having to come up with new ways for her to
run away from things.
To leave a giant trail of destruction in her wake.
Exactly.
And the more it goes on, the less sympathy you have for her because you're just everything you touch, you're just dooming.
She was such an awful person in this episode. Because she I don't know. It was a long con. She marries a person. Yeah. And the whole time she's on the run.
Yeah. I mean, Sawyer's all about long cons, but Kate's been running the longest con of all.
Sawyer's cons are 3 months tops.
Yeah, this is a marriage.
It's how
she's caught the Lord.
Realistically, it's even if they got married a year and a half after they met, that's a long time. Followed by, 1 day of marriage before taco night was too much.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's I don't know. Did she never had these second thoughts before? Or
yeah, it's just my theory is that they wanted to kind of imply greater time in this marriage, but the way the episode is structured, it really is easy to read it as it all happens in 2 days, and it really, just makes it so absurd.
It's much funnier that
way. It's a way better way to read it, to be honest. Anyways, that's Kate's tragic backstory.
If they wanted to imply greater time, they should have had her hair either grow or get smaller. She had the same haircut the entire time.
True, that would have been good.
You can only have the same haircut for about 3 days.
But yeah, that's the tragedy of fugitive Kate. Always on the run, leaving a trail of just ruining every single life she touches, pretty much.
Yeah.
On the island, stuff is happening.
Which island?
Oh, which island indeed? Because in this episode, we don't spend very much time on the island we know and love. We spend time on a tiny little island that's offshore.
The Others Island.
The island that belongs to the Others is Kate. I tried to say Kate and Jack at once, and then that didn't work out. Kate and Sawyer are locked up in cages, prisoners of the Others. Yeah. And Jack is also in prison, but in a different place. In a place that's weird and kind of factory looking and dimly lit, and that actually kind of has lighting that I've always kind of liked, where you see kind of washes of this sickly green over everything. Yeah. I kind of like it a lot.
The old underground.
It's a good way to
submarine sort of.
It's a good way to convey grody.
You know what, Jack? There's not bars in Jack's enclosure. There's actually a glass panel, and it's completely transparent, making it not a cage. Not a room. It's definitely not a room.
Would you call it a chamber?
I would call it a box.
You would.
Jack is in the box.
Jack is in the box, isn't he?
We have a Jack in the box scenario here.
Is that what we would call it?
I think that the term box might be the most appropriate term for it. I mean, chamber probably is a pretty good one too.
I think the problem with when I picture a box, I picture I picture a cube dimensions. I guess that would be a cube more.
Jack is pretty much in whatever you would call a squash court.
Yes. Yeah.
Because they have the glass wall, and I've always called them squash boxes.
Yeah, Jack is stuck in the old squash box. God, okay. Let me look at my notes and try to fucking make sense of this. Because this is a classic case of, once again, everybody is in a completely different place from last time.
Yeah. Jack, Ben, who is this bad guy with the others, very important bad guy.
Ben is basically the leader of the others.
And he is dying.
He is dying. He's got a little tumor on his spine. And he wants Jack to operate on him.
And Jack is like, no way, fuck this.
Yeah, you guys held me in prison. You guys have been terrorizing us this whole time. Eat shit. Why should we believe you? The reason why we should believe them is because I believe they're using Sawyer and Kate as, like,
leverage.
Collateral. Yeah.
Basically, we will kill your friends.
Yeah, let Ben die and those guys will die too.
And Jack silently with his eyes says, Sawyer's not my friend. He definitely does. He definitely does. Also, the other funny thing, the silent look that sort of displays so much meaning that it constantly occurs this episode.
Oh, yeah.
Is people are constantly calling Sawyer and Kate, it's like your girlfriend or your boyfriend.
Yeah.
And then they do this look, the camera pans to their face and they look like sort of puzzled and just the most shocked way of saying, like, he's not my boyfriend.
Exactly, yeah.
She's not my girlfriend.
Exactly. It's incredibly high school.
It's hilarious.
It's very high school for how the stakes are.
Yeah. High school stakes.
High school stakes. Medium well.
Medium well.
This episode is... This whole, like, series of episodes where they're stuck in these prisons was always felt weird to me.
Yeah.
Even back when it was airing and I was like all in on Lost, I was still like, this kind of is dragging and sucks.
It sort of like has the same thing with what they're constantly doing with the Kate episodes, where it's like it's just putting them in this impossible situation where they have like they're supposed to have no control over their situation, but they sort of have control over the situation. Sort of like they keep refusing to escape.
Exactly.
They keep I guess they probably want those to, like, metaphors to work together because we are seeing both of those things at the same time here, but it just does have that problem of, like, well, firstly, they're not really doing anything in particular.
Exactly, yeah. They're just, like, trapped, and then the others come up and they're mad at them, and they make them do forced labor or just, like, say cryptic shit at them, and the prisoners are like, fuck off, please. Yeah. and then they kind of chat at each other about, like, why are we here? I don't know. And, like, that's like this and the last 6 episodes.
Yeah. And they're constantly threatening to kill Sawyer. Yeah. And at no point does that ever feel like a real threat. I mean, I feel like if you were currently watching the show, well, this was the newest episode and you had no idea what happens next. There's nothing convincing about the idea of killing off Sawyer.
Exactly. Or Kate. Or even Ben or Jack. And it doesn't feel, none of it really feels earned.
At this point, the show is sort of addicted to those characters. Like, it has, those are the main characters, like Ben, Sawyer, and Jack.
Exactly.
And, Kate, Sawyer, and Jack.
Yeah.
Ben is a bit more auxiliary. But, so just to constantly threaten those people's lives is so unconvincing and so... it just sort of feels like a waste of people's time.
It definitely super duper is. Here's a, like, perfect illustration of all that. Kate, Sawyer's kind of down in the dumps. He's been broken, basically. And Kate's just like, you know what? Fuck this. We're busting out of here. And Kate climbs up her cages and fits out of her cage.
Escapes her cage very easily.
And, like, I'm wondering if this was attempted in an earlier episode, because if not, why did it take her this long to try? Especially considering her whole deal is being a fugitive.
Yeah. She's all about being on the run. They were just waiting for the Kate episode that reiterates how she's all about being on the run before that essential part of her character can exist again.
Exactly, yes. The characters on Lost only exist when told to exist by the plot, basically. When it lines up with their flashback schedules. So Kate climbs into the cage and busts Sawyer's lock open and, like, opens the door and is like, we're getting out of here, come on. And Sawyer the whole time is like, no, damn it, come on, Freckles, no. And
that's a really good impression.
I know.
Can you do it again?
Like, no, come on, Sawyer. Come on, Freckles. No.
I love that. You could have played Sawyer.
I'm gonna con you.
He always says that.
Where's the guns?
Oh,
I'm horny and I need a gun.
I've only fucked once in this episode. This shit sucks.
So Kate's finally like fed up with Sawyer. Like, come on, what's with you? You've been so broken lately. What's the problem? And Sawyer finally reveals to Kate, I'm not running. There's nowhere to run to. We're on a tiny island, not the mainland island. So even if we got out, where would we freaking go, buddy? And Kate's like, fuck, well, dang it. What the heck? And then one thing leads to another, and Kate and Sawyer get it on. Kate and Sawyer get it on. They have sex for the fans. And this throws a wrench in the love triangle, the classic love triangle of Jack, Kate, and Sawyer that is always happening, and I always forget. Like, I could not for the life of me tell you the, like, chronology of this whole convoluted romance thing. Like, I think Kate and Jack have kissed at some point, maybe? Anyways.
Very high school.
It's so damn high school. And, like, it'll go on, and, like, Kate will go back to Jack, and Jack will go back to Sawyer, and everything will
Jack will go back to Sawyer. I like that idea.
I really wish.
If this love triangle was a real fucking triangle.
Yeah, if it was a real triangle and not just a fucking mouth.
Yeah.
Not just an angle.
That. Yeah, the old love Pac-Man.
Yeah, this show is so damn hetero. It drives me nuts.
Jack and Sawyer should fuck.
They got to. You know that they're like... There's exactly one confirmed not heterosexual character on this show. Actually appears in this episode. And we'll get to him. And I'll tell you all about him. But, like, as a result of the complete...
Is he one of the others?
He's one of the others. And as a result of the complete, like heteronormativity of this show, a poor little queer like me's gotta kind of do a bit of projecting, and so I do definitely enjoy the thought of Jack and Sawyer having like a enemy, like a hatred that turns into a begrudging love.
They would be much better together than either Jack and Kate or Kate and Sawyer.
Absolutely.
Because Kate runs. Mm-hmm. But Jack and Sawyer, they're both very consistent with their characters. All Sawyer ever wanted was to kill the dude that ruined his life. And all Jack ever wanted was to fucking do a little surgery. Mm-hmm. And you know what? They could live happily ever after.
I think they could balance each other out very well.
Yeah, whereas Kate is running all over the place.
Kate just is chaos.
She just wants to phone the FBI again and be like, hey,
exactly.
I'm settling down. I decided to stay on the island. And they're like, yo, if you stay on the island, it'll be okay. And then she starts to try to get off the island.
Exactly, and then immediately gets arrested, of course.
It's ridiculous.
It's very silly. Anyways, Jack manages to escape his prison with help from a mystery person who we don't know. And he gets out, finds a gun, keeps that little gun. But while he sees the gun, he glances over. And what does he see? Some security cameras aimed right at the bone zone.
At the bone zone.
Right at the bone zone. And he gets a lot of mixed emotions, and he realizes, oh man. And Ben sneaks up behind him and says that smarmy ass classic, Ben's default mode is just like smarmy and asking for a punch in the face.
Yeah,
and he also
great.
Does get punched in the face a lot, so it's really satisfying.
I do enjoy that, yeah.
But he doesn't get punched in this episode, sadly. And by the way, while we're talking about Ben, love that fucking actor. That actor is one of the best. That is, next to maybe Terry O'Quinn and like a handful of others, that's definitely one of the most well cast people in the show. Because he is like designed to. He's like a character that was designed to be a creep.
He's this, exactly. Very weird mix of like intimidating, but seems so weak as well, and like that sort of makes him all the more unpredictable.
Exactly.
But it seems like he has it together, and also like it seems like he goes back into his room alone and like fucking throws a chair out the window.
Absolutely, yeah. He's. I think some of his characterization gets pretty inconsistent throughout the show, but like. Bless Michael Emerson for just playing the hell out of that fucking creep-ass character. Anyways. Jack holds a gun to Ben's head and eventually goes, all right, I'll do the surgery tomorrow. You got it. Which I don't think we really touched about. We touched about it a bit, but the other's whole plan was to kidnap these 3 people so that they can
get a surgery
done, and they're also like forcing Sawyer and Kate to do manual labor for no real discernible reason.
It's
and
really
like the others are just mean for no real reason.
Yeah.
For no, like, they could just be like, they spend so much time like terrorizing them. They spend like the first season like kidnapping children and shit, and like killing people and infiltrating them for like reasons that are completely unknown. They almost kill Charlie. Like, they blow up the raft. Like, they spend a lot of time tormenting the survivors of Flight 815, and for no fucking reason.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like you spend, like, when it first starts happening, you're like, whoa, shit, this is another obstacle for the gang. What is their motives?
That's specifically the thing, I guess, is like they set it up and it sort of makes sense because when it's an unknown force, it seems interesting and it seems like I would like to get to the bottom of this.
Exactly.
But then the unknown force doesn't really have a motivation.
Yeah, exactly. We spend a lot of... Season 3 is this season we spend a lot of time, really, for the first time, kind of like... I'm drawing back the curtain on what the others are. It's kind of the other season, and it kind of like doesn't really handle it super well, if you ask me. It's not like it's not super thrilling, with a couple of exceptions. Some of it's all right, but I mean, Ben's great, but most of it is just like they're mean and hostile for pretty much no real reason. Like,
I mean, that's fine.
Yeah.
No? I mean,
yeah.
Kate doesn't have a reason for
That's
being
true.
so
but
such a wrecking ball of destruction.
That's
and
true.
Sawyer does have a reasoning behind his character motivations.
Horny. Horny and sad.
I don't know what Jack's deal is.
Jack's just mad. There's a lot of good Jack getting mad scenes in this
episode.
He's
mad the whole time
because
he's upset that Kate and Sawyer are fucking.
He's upset
and
that
that's funny to watch.
It's very, very funny to watch Matthew Fox do his damnedest to he tries so hard to play like that level of unhinged. And like when he's acting opposite of Michael Emerson, who's just like nailing every single face and line he says, Matthew Fox just kind of has this like tries to do this like bug-eyed like, yeah, I'm crazy, dude, I'm ready to snap, and it like is not convincing at all.
You're like the shitty doctor.
Yeah, you're just a shitty doctor.
I just realized Matthew Fox looks like Luke Wilson.
Yeah, he does kind of, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Fun observation. So, anyways, the episode ends with Ben going under. The surgery starts. And suddenly, and it seems to be going smoothly, but suddenly we hear beep, 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 beep. One of the others goes, well, that's not right. And then Jack clocks him. And clocks him right in the jaw. And he's like, back away from the table. Give me the walkie-talkie right now. And basically, walkie-talkies with the people in charge, people who are like holding Kate and Sawyer hostage, and says, let them go right now. And if I don't hear back from them from an hour, I will not be able to fix Ben, and Ben will die. And the episode ends with that, pretty much. That little cliffhanger.
That was, yeah. It was an okay episode.
It was fine.
Yeah. It was, I mean, it still had some of the show's strengths that they completely forgot about in season 6.
Yes,
so, like,
you have the Jack, Kate, and Sawyer kind of being themselves.
Jatoyer.
Sack 8.
Sack 8. I like that.
Sack 8.
Sakate.
Sounds
like that sounds like a house brand for like home hardware.
Yeah, it does. I was thinking it sounds like a tempo for piano sheet music.
Sakate.
Yeah, like you gotta play this.
So it sounds like
Sakate Vivace.
I like that. I think actually Sakate Vivace is the slogan for the FBI that means I ain't fucking with you.
Yeah. Damn it, Big Sean. Damn it, FBI.
I really hope it's Big Sean.
Like, yeah, I'm gonna be bummed if it's not Big Sean and we've been blowing it this whole time. I mean, that's, like, for all my griping and gressing of, like, the others, and I still don't think that they're handled super well. You get some alright, like, set pieces and scenes with them. I don't really, like, as like flimsy as their motivations are, it's no flimsier than like Jacob's motives or anything.
That's the thing. I mean, the show is still very much like lost, and the show is still very much working on a structure of like things are happening that are at least somewhat comprehensible. You can at least somewhat understand characters' motivations where they just want to sort of escape the situation. It's still straightforward enough that even though in some ways it's a bit of a lackluster episode, I mean, firstly, whenever I watch a show, I generally don't analyze it this much. That's so it's true. Like you can sort of you can just write it off as like, oh, it was a fine episode.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you can have fine episodes sometimes. Yeah. Not every episode has to be a knockout of the park.
Yeah, exactly, and I think that's what we fell into here.
A perfectly fine episode.
Yeah, it was serviceable. It moved whatever plot they're trying to fucking push along a bit, and Sawyer and Kate finally fucked. Yeah, I mean that is very noteworthy.
That's pretty significant. I think in that arc, it's a well acted scene. Like actors, like I get the sense that Sawyer, like, is, like, we were goofing about it at the start of the episode about how it's like, oh, he's not just doing it for Khan. But, like, Josh Holloway and Evangeline Lilly, they sell that scene. It feels like, oh, these characters really are in a dire situation, and they're finding a connection in this.
They're both sort of letting their guard down in a certain scenario. It was really beautiful. I'm gonna watch it a couple more times tonight.
Yeah. Of course. Yeah, you got the file. I've got the file. I know that I'm gonna be watching that on repeat one for sure.
I just realized we were joking about that FBI warning. I will not admit on tape that we did not legally acquire these files.
Yes, I have a full copy of DVDs.
Do you really?
I legitimately actually do. So you can make a case that these are archival copies.
These are yeah.
Yeah, DVDs don't last forever. I gotta back my shit up, you know?
That's completely true. Holy shit.
One final thing I want to mention before we wrap this up. I mentioned that one queer character.
Was that the guy? I want to take a stab at it.
Okay, take a stab.
Was that the guy who, like, at the end is in the surgery room with Jack? He's sort of on his own. He's like a bigger dude.
Yeah. It's that guy. It's the guy behind the glass. He's kind of got a Santa vibe.
He's got a real Santa vibe.
He's just sitting there, like, everyone's like decked out in like full like doctor scrubs and shit, and he's just like there wearing like plaid flannel.
Sort of dressed like a farmer.
Just sort of dressed like a dweeb. Just like a guy down the road. And, like, he's, like, he is kind of a presence, throughout Season 3, and, like, he's kind of scattered throughout Season 1 and 2. He's one of the dudes who blows up the raft.
Oh, cool.
But you only see him for, like, a bit. He's, and you see one scene of him, basically, where he's smooches a dude, and that's literally the one scene of anything confirming anything, like, even remotely not straight. Is that character smooched a dude one time, and that's disappointing.
Who does he smooch?
Just a random dude.
Just so they just make up a character for him to smooch because a real character can't also be queer?
Exactly, yeah. He has to be queer with another, like, nameless character. He smooches him, and then the guy, like, leaves.
That's crazy because Sawyer fucks so much.
Yeah.
Kate fucks twice in this episode. I mean, Jack always looks like he's thinking about fucking.
Exactly. I mean, this is a horny show, but it's also a network cable show, and those have to be hetero. Oh. And even when you get into the stuff like HBO, that stuff still has to be appropriate for the male gaze.
Awful.
Exactly.
It's
just a darn shame. So let me think in my own headcanon about how Jack and Sawyer are a happily married couple once they make it off the island.
Honestly, they would be. Because they're the only... They have more in common than they'd like to admit.
Absolutely.
Starting with a complete infatuation with Kate. And probably, at the end of everything, having been abandoned by Kate, who stole all of their belongings.
Exactly.
And left them in ruins.
Exactly. One thing that I like about Legend of Korra is that it's not explicit about its queer themes, and you can read it as just like female friendship. But a guy, like, there's like kind of a triangle between two women and a dude, and the series ends with those two women being best friends.
Yeah.
It's really
and that's
good.
how this series should have ended.
Sorry for the spoilers, but that's why everyone's mad, is because it ends with a minute long of Jack and Sawyer making out. And then slow zoom
That's
in.
it.
That's it.
Yeah, exactly. That was J.J. Abrams' big plan all along.
Exactly. And I mean, if you think about it, the hints are there all along.
It is the long con.
It's the longest con of all. Anyways, I think we've pretty much given a thorough dressing down of the episode I Do.
I thought that the end of the series was not like Jack and Sawyer making out, but I did think that they entered a hotel room and Sawyer had a briefcase.
And then Jack wasn't exactly supposed to see that.
Exactly. But inside of the briefcase this time, rather than there be a bunch of money, you know what was in there? A ring.
A ring. You weren't exactly supposed to see that, but since you have, will you be my lawfully wedded, Doc?
Of course I will, you old bastard.
Come here.
And Kate is both of their best men.
Yep, absolutely. Kate just constantly darting back and forth.
And that's how Lost should have ended. We're gonna say it right here.
Yeah, I mean, I was disappointed that it didn't end that way. So
everyone thought it was building up to that. What with the repetition of that Sawyer theme and the complete. I don't know what else.
I don't know. Look, go to fanfiction.net for some more if you'd like. But
we're putting it out there.
We're putting it out there. Subscribe to our fanfiction newsletter. Hopefully tonight I have an RSS feed up so you can actually be subscribed to this darn thing.
It'll be there. You'll get notifications. We'll stick it right on your thing.
Right on
and
your device of choice.
If you subscribe to the podcast, we will like fuck with your internet browser. We'll give you both an extension bar, and we will make your default search engine Bing.
Yes, absolutely we will. And the default search terms will, of course, be Jack X Sawyer explicit.
Yes.
Yes. True.
So we are...
yes.
This is the long con.
This is the long con. This is the island... This has been the Island Shuffle.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening. I've been James.
I've been Bean.
That's the twist. We've swapped bodies now. Thanks for listening. And you know what? Why don't you go and get lost?
Hey.
Hey, must be the money.